Let's move to our second practice. And again, I'll speak through what we're going to do so that if there's any of it that you think might not work for you, you can tweak it or adapt it and choose words and phrases and things that best support you. And the purpose of this meditation is to bring us more towards gratitude. And what I think is very natural in the human system and the human mind and body is to be able to feel grateful for things. It's not necessarily something we have to learn. It's something that I think lives innately within us. And actually, I think we learn to stop being grateful. We start to take things for granted. But the actual gratitude itself is something we can often all relate to on some level from some point in our life. And when I spend time with young people, especially little children, they're so excited and they love things, they deeply love things. And what this practice does, it gives us the opportunity to reconnect with gratitude. And this has a really good ripple effect in our life, in our well-being, in our body, and in our mind, because it helps us to remember the things that we are grateful for, which is just good for us in general. It's a positive thing. But it also, I'm quite interested in neuroscience, and on a neurological level, when we're grateful for things and then we feel good about it, we're more likely to notice the things that we're grateful for than to notice the things that are challenging. It's like we weight things up more in favor of the things that are beautiful, because actually most of our lives, there are endless wonderful things. Like anyone that's got the ability to be here on Zoom on a Wednesday night, there's going to be lots of good things going on in your life for that to be possible. So in this practice, we're going to work with the elements because each element can inspire us in some way for some connection. So we'll work with earth and then air and then fire and then water. And you might simply be grateful to those four things for the way they show up in your life. Fire, we could be grateful for the warmth and for the beauty of a candlelight. But things like fire might also remind us of like when we feel empowered, or when we hear someone really speaking their truth and it inspires us. We could be inspired by the elements in many different ways. So there's no right or wrong way to work with this. All we're inviting our thoughts to do is for our thoughts to be able to be creative on this theme of the things that we're grateful for. One of the ways that we can do this is by, in our mind, speaking it through. We might start with earth, and then our first thought might be, oh, I really love trees, I really love going outside and being in nature, and just welcoming that enjoyment in. That's what we're doing here. For some of us, thinking thoughts isn't the way in. For sometimes we have images that come to mind. Sometimes it's just a very strong feeling in the body of gratitude. So I want you to work with this in the way that feels most natural and interesting for you. It could be accessing memories or remembering things that you're grateful for. So working with this within your own body, mind in your way. I'll give some words and some inspiration as we go through the practice, but this really is your practice. So if something doesn't align with you or something I say doesn't quite resonate, that's not a problem. Like focus on the thing that is arising for you and enjoy. Yeah, and enjoy. Again, this practice can be nice to do with eyes closed, just because it allows us to really bring our attention onto the form and the practice. So again, take a little moment to really just be comfortable. Especially doing gratitude practices, being very comfortable is nice. So give yourself that extra little lean into the cushion. Give yourself that support. Maybe roll the shoulders back. Maybe let a smile linger on the mouth, just letting it be there, not forcing it, but welcoming there to be that sense of warmth. And to begin this practice, you might just want to bring your attention onto the place that we think of as our heart. And not necessarily our beating heart, but when we think of the spiritual heart, the maybe energetic heart, often a feeling of lightness or warmth right in the center of our chest. Sometimes it just feels like gladness or happiness. We'll begin with the first element of the earth. We're just going to allow maybe something to come to mind. Maybe it's the earth herself, or some element of nature, or anything in the kind of physical, tangible plane we associate with the earth. It could be connected to our home. Something simple like a pair of shoes that are very comfy, can be really like the things that genuinely add to our life. Maybe many things come to mind, or maybe there's just one. But just taking this moment, have that real sense of gladness, appreciation, warmth, for whatever that thing is. And if you're really not sure where to go with it, you could just feel very glad for the little bit of ground that's supporting your body right now. That bit of ground that holds us through our whole life. Every step we take, it's just right there. Offering warmth, a smile, a thought. In a moment, we'll move to our next elements. Just allow yourself to let any thoughts or images softly make space. Maybe allowing yourself to connect to the sounds in the room, body against the chair. And then bringing ourselves to the element of air. The element of air can represent the things that we see in the air, like the birds, clouds, rainbows, all these natural, beautiful things. It is quite a wonder that we can look into the sky sometimes and see stripes of beautiful colour and this big arcing bow. But the air also might connect to things like our ability to speak, song, all the things to do with thoughts and words, ideas. And again, just allowing whatever comes to come. And you can maybe imagine what the world would be like without that thing. It can really help us to notice maybe how precious these small things are. These big things are. If it feels nice to you, you might just stretch a little bit of gratitude to the air traveling through your bloodstream right now that feeds all your cells. A healthy, well body being nourished by the air. And in a moment, we'll move again to the next element, so letting any last warmth, gratitude, appreciation move in the way it wants to move. And we're welcoming the element of fire. This could take us out into the furthest reaches of the beautiful sun in the sky. It could bring us to the warmth in our own body. It could bring us to the warmth that someone brings when they smile at us or when we share a hug with somebody. It might even take us to the fact that we can cook our food, drink nice warm tea with a piece of a small candle flame. Whatever it is that comes to mind for you, maybe comes to heart for you right now as you consider the element of fire. Almost like letting yourself have a moment to really know its beauty, really know its meaning. Simply being glad that it exists. Once again, allowing the thoughts or the images of this one to softly fade. We'll move to our final element, the element of water, the element of life itself, all the plants and animals and people, the rain and the streams and the rivers and so many wonderful things completely rely on water, made so beautiful by water. Our own tears. Many times the emotions are associated with water. One of the wonderful things of human life is that we get to experience so many different emotions. Maybe they're not all easy, but what a ride. What a thing to experience. So inspired by water, and maybe simply working with water itself, allowing warmth, appreciation, and gladness to arise in you, however it arises in you. That sense of what it brings to your life and the life of your loved ones. Things exist like that in the way that they do. And then very softly, very gently, rather than letting this one fade, maybe just invite this interconnection of all the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. Noticing how they all need each other, and very likely how the things that have come to mind in this practice this evening connect to each other in some ways, supporting each other. Maybe just taking a moment to enjoy the kind of the weave of the web of it all. Maybe a little moment of wonder or and you can close this practice however feels nice for you. And a lovely way to do this can be just to bring a hand to the heart. Yeah, giving yourself a hug, whatever it is that feels a nice way to just offer yourself that same appreciation for taking the time, not just to do this practice, but for showing up for this hour, for choosing to give an hour of a Wednesday evening to do something peaceful, nourishing, wholesome, connected with all these other people, whether we can see each other or not. And if you haven't already, whenever you're ready, just let your eyes return to the room you're in. Stretch, wiggle, whatever it is that feels nice for you in this moment.